Welcome back to In Ohio Country Today, and joining me now is Kurt George, Vice President from Hylio, and we're here at Apple Farm Service in beautiful Versailles, Ohio. Kurt, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Incredible technology here, but let's talk about this partnership first between you and Apple Farm Service.
So, as we look to expand across the country, and, we manufacture it here in the United States, it's important to have regional presence. And here in Ohio, where, farming is so prevalent, it was important to find the right partner to work with. So, ask around, you talk to farmers, and, the one name kept coming back, and it was Apple Farm Services. So, we started talking to one another, and they're kind of on the leading edge of technology, and we're very fortunate, where we are. And so it just made sense to work together.
And it provides a certain amount of exclusivity, right, for Ohio and maybe parts of Indiana where they have a store?
Yeah, so, with 5 locations, they pretty much have a bubble over each one of who they're chatting with. And again, because they're the leader in the space, we really wanted to go with the right partner. No, the only place you're going to be able to get these in this area is, right here at Apple.
Great demonstration today, too. Let's talk about the product itself, the evolution. I know we've been talking about drones for many years on our television show, and it looks like the timing is right for this technology and its applications for our producers.
No, absolutely. With farming, drones started, I'm not going to say like as a novelty, but where they started was, crop identification, the health of what you're growing out there. And so it was just primarily cameras. Now, as the technology has moved forward, but also as the ability for drones to get larger, battery technology being what it is now, you really can have, both dry spreading, cover crop, but then material distribution as well. And so they just keep getting bigger and bigger. The capacity keeps getting larger and larger, and farmers are really able to compete with some of their ground rigs now and pretty much get their material on effectively.
Well, let's talk about that effectiveness. We're talking about precision technology that allows them to specifically not only map their fields, but to target those areas that need the nutrients the most or need the help the most. And that's really helping their bottom line. So let's talk about that technology as well.
So, you've got 2 options when you're going with a sprayer. One is you say, look, I want to get the whole field, but I need to be within 6 inches of the edge, and at the corners, I need you to really cut in the corners. Traditional aerial application with a plane, what ends up happening is it gets on the road, it gets on the field next door, it's wherever they can drop it. With a drone, you're only flying about 12 to 15 feet above your crop, so it is going down exactly where you want it to do. Now, that's just doing the whole field. Now, pick it up where you've got a couple trouble spots within the field. Why spend the money to, again, distribute across the whole field? You can set the drone out, and even in autonomous mode, you can say, I want you to spray here, here, and here. Not anywhere else, only the areas that I've identified are the problems, and it'll fly to, hover over, distribute the material, stop, go to the next section, spray where you want, and then leave. We're to a point now where you got 2 weeds in the field, send the drone out to do the work, and you're just sitting safely on the edge. And especially ground is too wet, don't want to disturb your crop that's already out there, 0 impact to the ground, do it aerially. It's going to be a hell of a lot easier for you.
Well, let's talk about the affordability first, too. It's always about the bottom line. It's always about input cost for our farmers out there, that return on their investment. So what are we looking at as far as an investment is concerned, and how does that play into their bottom line?
So depending on the size of the drone you're getting, these drones range anywhere from, the low 20,000s to, the upper 80,000s. Again, it's all depending on the size. Similar, buying a new pickup truck, how many bells and whistles do you want on it? How big of towing capacity? But when you really look at the effectiveness, let's talk about the cost of a new ground rig. You're going to get 5, 6, 7 of these drones for the cost of a new tractor, and you're going to be able to effectively treat the same amount of area when it comes down. Also, let's talk about no fuel cost. These are battery driven. These are electric. These are electric vehicle, no emission vehicles too. So you really have the ability. You're taking control over your property. You don't have to rely on an outside source to come in and treat it. One guy can run and do all this himself, sitting in the comfort of like a table just like this, behind a computer, and sending the robots out to do the work. So you're saving some money on having guys work in your field. You're saving money on trying to decide what equipment you're going to use. You may be able to get a few more years out of your ground rig because now you're supplementing that from the air. And so farmers are really able to stretch their dollar by incorporating this technology. Yeah.
Wow. So, when we're looking at this kind of technology, it's changing all the time. So, just like a vehicle or a tractor or any other large iron that they need on their farm, they're going to make an investment in this. So, what's the durability? What's the lifespan that we can expect out of this piece of equipment on their farm?
Well, I'll tell you, when the first drone we ever sent out stops working, I'll let you know when it is, because it's still going right now. These drones are equipped with a brushless electric motor, similar to what you'd find in your refrigerator. It just runs and runs and runs. It's not moving parts or anything like that, or anything. The motor itself, it's double encased that you're never going to have to touch it or go into it. So from that standpoint, the longevity, it's going to go for quite an amount of time. It's something we're pretty proud of, and especially to have something that's so robust, so durable, and something you can work on yourself. Now, when you talk about technology, let's talk about the software as well. You have lifetime access to the software with these drones, and any update or upgrade that we're making to the system as we make them, better and better as time goes on, it just automatically pushes to the machine. So it's not like when you buy an F-150 and whatever the onboard computer has, you're locked into that make, model, and year. With ours, it's a brand new drone every year. And so as we incorporate new features to the avionics, they automatically get pushed to the unit. So the drone you bought last year as opposed to the drone you buy today, they're going to operate the exact same.
So the next question then is not only the service aspect of it, but the training. What training is involved in getting our producers and used to this and making sure that it's not only safe, but it's also legal?
So that's where it's a great thing here at Apple, because they have training classes right here for guys where they can come in. It's not like, oh, here you go, and you're on your own to learn how to do this. It's pretty extensive, the amount of training on the software and how to use it. Truth be told, if you can use a smartphone, you can use this software. But really getting in and getting with the guys here who are flying this day in and day out, where they can bring you across the street, take you out to the pasture and say, hey, let's go fly this thing together. Here's some of the tricks of the trade of what you're going to do. So, and truth be told, our guys are setting up, 100, 200 virtual flight missions before the drone even hits their driveway. So they've already mapped their fields. They've flown virtual missions before. They've worked out all the kinks, like a flight simulator almost. Then when the drone arrives, that's the final 10%. That's the easy part. Drone operation is the easy part. The hardest part is deciding how many you're going to get.
Well, let's talk about the service technicians that'll be here working on this. Obviously what Apple Farm Service is known for is making sure that they have certified trained technicians for New Holland, Case IH. Is that going to be the same with Hylio as well?
100% the same. So every one of the technicians here will be trained and certified by us, and meeting with the same engineers that are actually building these drones from the ground up. So there's no separation of a fellow that builds these drones is a fellow that knows how to operate these drones. And truth be told, in the unfortunate event that a farmer happens to fly one of these into the side of the barn one day, he'd have to do it on purpose, and I don't know why you would, but if he does, every member of the service team here is going to know how to both replace and repair any and all parts on that drone.
Wow, it's an incredible product, and it's about time, and it's nice to know that Apple Farm Service is on that cutting edge once again in providing that service and that technology to the producers here in the Buckeye State. For more information about Hylio, is there a website that our producers can go to?
Yeah, it's just hylio.com, Hylio.com.
And I'm sure our friends at Apple Farm Service will have a link to that as well at applefarmservice.com. Kurt George has been our guest from Hylio. Kurt, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks much. Appreciate it.
All right. And we'll be back with more in Ohio Country Today right after this.